What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm finally gonna be doing this book video. I've talked about it so much that it feels weird that I'm actually doing it now. I'm also so excited to be able to just rant and like express the feelings that I have for these books, because literally like nobody in my life cares about books and it makes me sad, and I can't rant to them because they're like, okay, like after like 2 seconds they're like, okay, shut the fuck up. So I'm hoping that like together we can form this cute little like book club community, because I would love nothing more. And if you do go out there and buy one, let me know, tag me on Instagram, because I will go absolutely fucking crazy. I do every single time. Basically like 95% of the books that I own I have bought because of TikTok. Book Talk specifically, I actually have found people on there that I trust, like their opinion and their descriptions on books are so good that I'm like, oh my god, I need to read this like now, and I do. I have a lot of books here that I want to talk about, but I wanted to put them into categories so it made more sense. Enemies to Lovers destroyed me in the best way. Rom-coms, aka my absolute faves. Spicy books, drop everything you're doing and read these. Okay, so this is my little pile of my Enemies to Lovers books. Something that I noticed with these like Enemies to Lovers books, with most of them, is that the guy, the main character, was in love with the girl the entire time. So they hated each other, the girl hated him. It was like this whole thing, like they were like bickering back and forth, all this stuff. And then at the end you figure out that like, oh, he was in love with her the entire time. Why didn't he just say it? I don't know. The book would be boring if he did that, but it's cute. Okay, so the first book I'm going to talk about is The Spanish Love Deception. I just finished this book literally like a couple days ago, and I feel empty inside and I hate my life. This became not just my favorite Enemies to Lovers book, but my actual like one of my favorite books. And I probably have like 3 books that I can say are my favorite from all the ones that I've read, and this is one of them. Also, the love I have for the main character, Aaron Blackford, is unhealthy as well. Okay, so it takes place in New York City. They work together and the girl has not had a boyfriend in like 6 years. The girl is about to go back home to Spain for her sister's wedding, but the last thing she wants to do is go back home single, alone, and sad. So out of the blue, her coworker Aaron Blackford, which is somebody that she highly despises, offers to help her by pretending to be her boyfriend on this family trip. And they go to Spain, they have to share a bed, it's like this whole thing, it's really cute. They're pretending to be dating, but then at some points you're like, I don't think you're pretending anymore. And just the suspense to get to like the point where they like actually just tell each other their feelings, I loved it. From start to finish, there wasn't one moment where I was bored, not at all. Like everything, it's just, it's so cute in the best possible fucking way. Literally absolutely love this book. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. The fact that I'm never like gonna read this book for the first time makes me sad. Okay, these 2 books I've already talked about on my channel before, but it's The Hating Game and The Unhoneymooners. The Unhoneymooners is one of my favorites, and The Hating Game as well. This one's like a workplace Enemies to Lovers vibe. The girl is like super preppy, super bubbly, super happy to be alive, and he's just like Debbie Downer, like negative Nancy, the whole thing. They basically like play games with each other at work, and they're also fighting for the same promotion. Throughout the whole book I was like, wait, like how's this gonna work out, like with the whole promotion type of vibe? But at the end it's literally the perfect ending. This one's absolutely so fucking adorable. It made me so happy, and it gave me the best summer vibes. This is such a good book to read during the summer because it's just so cute. They go to Hawaii, it's like the whole thing. Basically there's a girl, her name's Olive, and her sister is about to get married, or her sister does get married. Her sister's husband's brother, she despises him, does not like him. The whole time that their siblings have been dating, they can't stand each other. During the wedding, everybody gets food poisoning except them 2, literally except them, of course. And basically her sister has this honeymoon to Hawaii, which somebody obviously has to attend to, but they can't do it because they have food poisoning and they're living out of the fucking toilet. So who else is gonna enjoy the vacation than the 2 people who hate each other the most? Obviously they have to pretend to be the fake married couple, and at some point during the vacation they stop pretending and they actually end up liking each other. Okay, last Enemies to Lovers book that I'm going to talk about is this one. It's Shipped. This is literally the perfect combination of The Hating Game and The Unhoneymooners. So the guy and the girl, they are co-workers, they work at the same place, they're fighting for the same promotion. They work for this cruise ship company, and they basically get sent out on this vacation that they have to enjoy, but they're actually like working at the same time, and they're also fighting for the same promotion. So it's a lot of like different things. I give this book like an 8 out of 10 only because I thought it was genuinely really good. I really liked it. I also read it very quickly, and it gave me the most like summer vibes, which I also really loved. But I read it super quickly, so I didn't really like, you know, think about it too much. It's not a book that you're gonna think about days after, which has happened with other books. This isn't something like you're gonna like walk away from and you're gonna be like, oh my god, that book like changed my mind forever. No, not really. It's just a super cute like quick read, at least for me. I honestly enjoyed it. I thought it was funny. I thought the ending was super cute. category is destroyed me in the best way. I can't think of a better name than that one. These books made me feel emotions that I did not think a book could make me feel. So as I mentioned, there's 3 books from all the books that I've read that are actually my absolute favorites. And one of those 3 books is this one. It's called It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. I understand why everybody's so obsessed with her, because she makes literal art in a book. I'm ready to just give her my money. Like, just take it. Give me your books and I'll give you my money. I don't care. But this book, specifically this fucking book. One thing I will say about this book is you have to search up trigger warnings. If I could shove a book down anybody's throat, like, read this fucking book, you have no other choice, this would be one of them. The interesting thing about this book is that you're going back and forth between present and the past. So what you're reading in the present time is Lily. That's the main character. You're kind of going through her relationship with this guy named Ryle, which is somebody that she just met. You kind of literally see the relationship from the very first day to like how it evolves and everything. So in the past part of the book, you're reading all about her relationship with her very first love. When she was 15 years old, she met this guy named Atlas, and he's going through some very, very deep shit in his life, and she basically helps him through that. Like, you literally see how she saves his life, like literally saves his life. And obviously they fall in love with each other, but life doesn't really let them be together. But they make a promise to each other that if they see each other again, or when they meet each other again, it will be their time. And then when you go back to the present, when you see her with her new relationship, you kind of see how like little details of her past life are what's kind of breaking up her present life. Obviously Atlas comes back into her life, but then at the same time Ryle and her have this connection and this love that's out of this fucking world. There's a lot. There's literally, it's so much, and I don't want to spoil it, but it's just probably one of the best books that I'm ever gonna read. If you haven't read this book, what are you waiting for? Like, what are you waiting for? Pause this video, go on Amazon, go to fucking Barnes & Noble and buy this book. Wait, it says it right here. Literally, Cami Garcia, who are you? I don't know. But she said, every person with a heartbeat should read this book. If you can read words, you need to read this book. Colleen Hoover, how do you come up with this? How? Okay, next book. I've already talked about this book before, and some people actually went out and bought this book because I recommended it. I hope you loved it, because this is also one of my favorite books of all time. I feel like my quote should be up here. If you have a soul, you should read this book, because it will crush it, literally. In the best way, in the best way. Every time I think about this book, I just think of a love that didn't have enough time. So think of this super, super famous Hollywood actress. She's like 80, almost 90, I think, like years old, and she's ready to talk about her life. She's ready to talk about everything that she did throughout her life, everything, like all the scandals, all the secrets, everything. She's ready to come clean because she knows that soon she's gonna be passing away. Even though she's not a real person, like, she's a character that I was reading it and I was like, I just felt empowered, you know, just by like reading what she would do to get what she wanted, because she was independent and she was like, you know, she knew her worth and she knew what she could become, and she got everything she wanted because she worked hard for it. And there's that whole love part that comes into her life, and it's just so sad because at the beginning you see how she was so like determined, and she was so like just such a badass bitch, literally, to get what she wanted career-wise. You basically realize that throughout the book she had this like absolute love of her life, and the tragic part is that she realized it too late, and time was not their friend. And I could cry just thinking about this book. It's that beautiful. Literally 100 million out of 10. This is one of my favorite books of all time, and I'm sure that's never going to change. And yeah, if you want to feel empowered and if you want to feel every single emotion possible with a book, this will do that to you. This book right here. Every single person that's on Book Talk, every single person that like knows about the trendy books right now knows about this book. The Song of Achilles, 10 out of 10. I can't recommend this book enough either. I think this book is extremely tragic, but one thing that I will say about this book, this love story is so different than any other love story I've read. It's also very much about Greek mythology, so that's very different also than anything else I've read. The moment they meet each other, you just know that you're reading a love story about soulmates. Like, this isn't about like chance, this isn't about like anything. It's literally 2 soulmates and their love story, and I just thought that was the most beautiful thing ever. I just felt like this book is, the writing style of this book is probably one of the most beautiful ones I've ever read. The last thing, this thing right here, so this is the last page, right? This part right here where she's like, go, she says, he waits for you. I will not be able to go through this book again. 10 out of 10. Okay, last book for this category is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I actually don't see a lot of people talk about this book. Maybe that's just my book talk, I don't know. But I just want to be one of the people that talk about it, because this book deserves a lot more recognition. The only thing I will say about this book is that, one, it is very long and it's not just like a quick read type of thing, at least not for me. At least for like the first maybe quarter to like first half of the book, it kind of like it kind of like dragged on for me. I will say that, even though I feel really bad because I genuinely really love this book. The ending of the book and the overall story make it so worth it for me. To me, it honestly felt like a poem. I felt like I was reading a poem in a story, you know what I mean? Like the entire time, the way that this book is written is so beautiful. Like it takes place in like 1619 and it's in France, and it's about this girl. She's her whole life she's been super independent. She's always wanted more from life. She's wanted to travel, she wanted to do something with her life, she's wanted to see the world. That time period, your life was basically like grow up with your parents, find a husband, marry him, have kids, and then die type of thing. Sounds depressing, but you know, that's the way that she kind of saw it and the way that she kind of described it. And she basically does the one thing that her aunt figure or her mentor kind of tells her not to do, which is pray to the night gods, because basically if you pray to the night gods, they grant you your wish, but they kind of give you like a really like fucked up type of wish, like they fuck it up for you type of thing. She wishes for like freedom and to be able to go out into the world and do whatever she wants to do, all that type of thing, and she gets that. However, the only thing is that she will never be remembered by anybody. She can like have a conversation with someone, she can have a connection with somebody, and the second that she turns around and the second that she's out of their sight, they no longer remember her. So she lives, literally she goes through like 300 years of living, and no one ever remembers her until the one day where somebody actually does remember her, and she's like in shock, and she's like, what the fuck, like 300 years of my life and no one has ever remembered me, and yet here you are, this one guy, like obviously because it's a love story. The ending was so crazy for me that I literally sat in this chair for like 5 minutes and I contemplated the fuck out of like everything. I was like, I need to contemplate my life, I contemplate this book, I contemplate what I just read. One of the most beautiful stories I've ever read. I'm literally like obsessed with this book. These two are my spicy category. These are my crazy love spicy everything category. First one I'm gonna talk about is this one, Ugly Love, Colleen Hoover. It's Colleen Hoover, girl, so you just know that she makes no mistakes, so you just know it's a good book. But the characters in this book I'm actually like attached to. I thought about this book literally like days to weeks after. Like I'm still thinking about this book because the characters are so memorable. It's insane. Even the cover is absolutely fucking glorious, and you understand the cover after you read it. I love that. I literally love understanding covers and like little things that they put around the book after you finish the story, because it just makes so much sense. I literally read it in a day and I kind of regretted it because it was so good, and I was like, oh my god, it's over. Okay, so the two main characters of this book is Miles, and basically Miles is Tate's brother best friend, so it's like a brother's best friend type of love story. And at the beginning it's like a really weird relationship because Miles is the most like private, most like unreadable person, at least that I've read in a book, and that's what made me read it so fast, because I'm like, dude, like I just want to know what this guy's deal is. The way Miles treats Tate is like, what the fuck, dude? Like this girl obviously is like falling in love with you and you're doing everything possible to make her fall in love with you, but then when she tells you that she falls in love with you, you're like, oh my god, like what the fuck? Tate is obviously super interested in him, so they basically like make this relationship where they're kind of like friends with benefits type of thing. They kind of start figuring out that it's really hard to just keep it like that, you know what I mean? Especially Tate, she's kind of like, dude, like I like you, say you like me back, like I know you like me. And he has a very like crazy past. It's an ugly love story for sure, because it is very fucked up in like the craziest ways possible, but at the end it's just like, wow, Colleen Hoover, you did it again. Punk 57 is a crazy fucking book. Let me just explain to you. So basically it's about this girl and it's about this guy, and since like 5th grade they were paired up to be pen pals, and now they're a lot older. They're literally like seniors in high school, a lot older. So more than a decade they've literally been writing to each other, and they've become each other's like best friends. They've become each other's like best friends, therapists, everything. They vent to each other, they tell each other everything about their lives. However, they made a deal with each other not to meet in person. They were like, we're not going to ruin this, you know, we have such a good connection writing to each other that we're not going to ruin it by meeting in person. Basically the main guy, Misha, ends up figuring out who Ryan is like in person. Ryan is the girl, but then what ends up happening is that Misha doesn't like who Ryan is in person, literally almost like hates her, like hates who she is in person. He ends up transferring to her school, makes her life miserable literally, and she just can't figure out what's happening. They also stopped writing to each other as pen pals. It's been like 3 months that they haven't written a single letter to each other, so she's also super confused about that. She doesn't know what's happening. She misses her like best friend that she has through these letters, and she also has this kid at school who hates her and she hates back. She has this weird connection to Misha, but she doesn't know that it's the same person through the letters. 10 out of 10, recommend this book. Okay, it's about to get really like dark in here, so I need to hurry up. If you're on Book Talk, you know about these books. This is Beach Read and People We Meet on Vacation both of them by Emily Henry. Both of them masterpieces, both of them 10 out of 10 for me. Okay, so this book is about two authors. The guy's name is Gus and the girl's name is January. They're basically neighbors in these two beach houses. The girl goes there because her dad just passed away and he basically left her this beach house, and she kind of has this summer to go through it and like, you know, go through all these memories, and it's very difficult for her. But at the same time, she's also having to write this book. And then she figures out that her next door neighbor is Gus, which she actually knows because they met in college. And then they have this really, really weird relationship where they like don't know if they like each other or hate each other type of thing. She's very used to writing like super, super happy books with like happily ever after type of endings. And he writes a lot like darker type of books. And she's kind of going through this really, really dark period of her life. So she's like, you know what, I'm kind of like interested in writing stuff that you would write, you know what I mean? So they kind of like form this like deal where she's gonna show him like how to write like a happily ever after type of book, like take him on these like cute little fake dates, like trying to like get him to get inspiration, and he takes her on these crazy adventures of like dark real shit, you know what I mean? Like you just figure out that they're literally perfect for each other, but they just don't know that. Okay, next and last book that I'm going to be talking about today is People We Meet on Vacation. Okay, Alex and Poppy. Poppy is actually one of my favorite characters that I've read in books. I just feel like, I don't know, like her character, if you can relate to it, it's absolutely beautiful, and if not, then it's just one of those characters that you're like, oh my god, like you're just everything, you know what I mean? It's about Poppy and Alex. They're best friends. They've been best friends for like over a decade now, and they could not be more different though. They literally could not be more different. Alex is kind of like super quiet. He's kind of like more to himself. He's kind of like super chill. Poppy's like that one crazy, like outgoing, talkative best friend to Alex. But they made this deal from when they were in college that every summer they were going to take a trip together. So they go on vacation every single summer. They make these like crazy memories, but then in present day you figure out that they haven't spoken to each other in 2 years, and they have this like really weird, like kind of like awkward energy because they've been best friends for so long. They literally go on this crazy vacation every single year, and all of a sudden they have this argument, and they haven't seen each other, they haven't talked to each other in 2 years. And she literally tells him like, okay, you know what, for memory's sake, we're gonna go on a vacation this summer. And she kind of sees it as like their last chance to be able to like make their friendship work again. You will read it like this because it gets you hooked from the very beginning. I want to really quickly talk to you guys about the last category, which is stop everything you're doing and read these books. From the books that I've read, there's 3 books that I would recommend to literally anybody and everybody. Spanish Love Deception, It Ends With Us, and 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. This one is a perfect, at least for me, perfect love story. I literally wish my life was this book. There's these 2 books, which as I mentioned, they're so tragic in the most beautiful type of way. I feel like the quotes that go so perfect with this book is everything happens for a reason, and if it's meant to be, it will be. And then there's my absolute queen of everything, 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Anyways, if you guys buy any of these books, please let me know. Tag me on Instagram because I'm so excited to see what you guys go and buy. So yeah, I love you guys, and I'll see you guys really, really soon. I like me better when I'm with you.